This morning, rain has not deterred Democrats. Their early voting numbers are up significantly in Dallas. We'll ask which races might be driving this turnout. Lupe Valdez leads Andrew White in the latest poll, but he's way ahead of her in fundraising. So what does this new survey really tell us? The president's plan to make schools safer looks an awful lot like the one Texas has. Is it really enough, though, to make schools safe nationwide? And school superintendents say they will not be bullied by Empower Texans or the Attorney General. One superintendent in studio to explain what he and his colleagues now have planned.
From WFAA TV, this is Inside Texas Politics with Jason Whiteley.
Good morning. We begin with an open seat in the Texas House. State Rep Cindy Burkett is walking away from that chamber to run for Senate. This is House District 113. It's a sliver of Dallas County, all on the east side, including some parts of Rowlett, Garland, Mesquite, Sunnyvale, Balch Springs, part of Dallas, and Seagoville. Republicans have owned this seat the last 8 years, but Democrats say they see opportunity. Two candidates running for the nomination, Retta Andrews Bowers, part-time educator, making another run for this office, and Billy Ingram, a 34-year veteran of Dallas Fire Rescue. And joining the questioning, as always, is Bud Kennedy of the Star-Telegram. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us out.
Let's start out with the numbers on this. In 2014, Cindy Burkett won by 19 points. Last election, she won by 10 points. Republicans vow to keep this seat. Question is, where do you see a path to victory around those numbers? We'll start with you, Retta.
Well, I see a path to victory in us continuing to get out the vote and make sure we get people to come out. I mean, when we got it to a 10-point margin and we had it within the margin of error at some points of it, I just think that we have to keep pushing. We got 45% of the vote against Representative Burkett last time, and I wish as a community we had come back and said, hey, look how far we'd gotten. Let's keep pushing, you know, as a unified front.
Billy, you're new to this race. How do you get around those numbers?
Well, I hear Retta say that she got the 45%. I'm pushing to get to 51%. We're going to get out and knock the doors. We're going to try to get the people to go vote. We're hoping that the Democrats would look around the country and see what's going on around the country and get up off their butts this time and go vote.
One issue you guys both support is fully funding education, but Democrats remain a minority in Austin. How would you accomplish anything and even try to get that done, Retta?
Well, I think with gaining the Dallas Morning News endorsement, that was something that was said about me, and that I do have a spirit of crossing the aisle, and I will be able to go and talk to the Republican legislators and try to roll up our sleeves, come to the table, and get to some solutions on how we get the funds to put back in education.
And Billy, Democrats are a minority down there, and they likely will be for some time.
Well, I've worked with a lot of these. As you know, I'm a Dallas firefighter. All of us are not Democrats. Some of us are Republicans. I've worked with these guys for many years. I think I can do the same thing in Austin. You got to reach across the aisle sometime. We have a lot of firefighter bills that came up in Austin. I've been there many, many times to support some and oppose others. And you know, we go down as a group, the Republicans and Republicans and Democratic firefighters. So on some issues, I think that, you know, I can reach across the aisle and bring the Republicans over to support us.
You know, one of the most talked about topics in this district has been adding a toll lane to 635 to get some of the people in this district to and from work. Now we find out that if that toll lane is not built, if they try to build it out of regular highway money, that means losing the widening of Highway 80 to Terrell. How do you all feel about the toll lane plan on 635? Are you opposed or support?
I support the toll lane as long as you got an option for the free lanes. I think that to get this project started and to get it finished, if the state doesn't have the money to do it, then you have to go into some kind of partnership with the private practice and get this done. And the only way they can make their money is to put a tollway in. So if we have to get a tollway along with an extra lane for, because right there, that 30 and 635, there's a bottleneck there that drives our constituents crazy. Something has to be done. I
agree with Mr. Ingram. I mean, we have to look at managed lanes possibly just to give the residents of House District 113 some options.
Is this a change of position? On a previous sheet, I saw you opposed the tollway.
You know, I did say I opposed it because I'm not a proponent of toll roads. I just think that we definitely have to look at some possible managed lanes to give some options.
Let's talk about restrictions on access to firearms. You support more restrictions, more stringent restrictions, you said, Retta. What do you want to see specifically?
I think we have to look at background checks. We have to look at, when we talk about our soldiers and our first responders, we have to look at mental health too. We have to look at...
But what gets done? What would you like to see done specifically? I mean, every time one of these shootings happens, we talk about mental health, we talk about background checks.
Yes, and really making sure that people just don't have complete access to firearms. I think we have to have more stringent gun laws. It's about gun violence prevention. It's about, as we looked at what happened in Florida, it's about safety and security in our schools. I send a student to one of our Garland schools every day, and it is ever present on my mind and heart that she comes home safely.
Do you want to see more restrictions, Billy?
No. I am a gun owner, responsible gun owner. I have my concealed handgun license. With the weapons of mass, with the weapons that they're using, AR-15s and everything, I don't own one of those. I do have shotguns, rifles.
Should there be restrictions on those?
I think it should be, yes. Yeah, and you definitely shouldn't have an 18-year-old to walk into a gun store and buy an AR-15. That's ridiculous. I heard something recently about they talking about moving that age to 21. I definitely support that.
Okay.
Quickly, we're in the middle of a flu epidemic. Democrats disagree on mandatory vaccines. How do you all feel about the mandatory vaccines for school students?
I think vaccines are necessary. I'm a daughter of a physician and surgeon, and I do believe we have to make sure that people can get the proper medical care they need. We had a teacher that we just lost in the Metroplex too because she couldn't get her prescription drugs.
Oh, I support it. I do the flu shot every year myself. Being a firefighter, it wasn't mandatory, but they suggested that most of us, because we interact with the public a lot, you got that many students that's together all day long. I think they definitely should be.
How are you different from your opponent? Because you guys agree on a lot. How are you different?
I am definitely different because I have been out in House District 113 for the last 4 years, if not before, working, whether knocking those doors, talking to voters, and just really staying on the pulse of what is important to the community.
Final word, Billy.
Well, as I said before, I spent many times in Austin, back and forth, fighting issues for firefighters, and I think I have that experience. I think I have the communication skills to deal with the politicians there, get through the red tape.
Billy Ingram, Retta Andrews-Bowers, wish we had more time to dig deeper in these issues, but we appreciate it. Good luck to you on March 6th.
Thank you so much.
Now to that UT Texas Tribune poll. Some of the numbers from that poll raised eyebrows. Lupe Valdez leads Andrew White significantly in the Democratic race for governor, but White leads her with fundraising. And no surprise there on the left-hand side about Governor Abbott commanding 95% of support from Republicans. Ross Ramsey is the co-founder and executive editor of the Texas Tribune in Austin for us, as always. Good morning to you, Ross.
Good morning, Jason. How are you?
We're doing well. The governor's race on the Democratic side was interesting. What were some of the other takeaways you got that you thought when you received these survey results back?
We asked two questions on these horse race part of the poll, and when we asked the Democratic voters the first time, who are you for in the race for governor, 66%, 2/3, said they hadn't made up their mind yet. The next question is, if you had to vote today, how would you vote? And that's where you get the numbers that you're looking at, but I think it's a wide open race, and a lot of voters are unsettled on this one.
And we're still a few months, several months out before the general. Let's talk about the other huge news going on in this state that happened on Thursday. A San Antonio court convicted State Senator Carlos Uresti. He says he's not going to quit, but Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick was quick to say that he would remove him from committees. Can Uresti really survive this?
I'm not sure that he can. He's going to appeal the convictions. He was convicted on 11 counts of securities fraud and some other things, and all of the charges against him, in fact, and says he will appeal. The lieutenant governor, as you said, removed him from all committees. The Texas Senate Democratic caucus said that he should resign. So he doesn't seem to have any friends politically in this thing, and it could set up a very quick special election to replace him if he quits.
Ross, thanks a lot. Back to you in just a moment. Dallas Mayor Pro Tem Dwayne Caraway first floated the idea here on this program that Dallas should not welcome the NRA convention.
Caraway reiterated that last week after the school shooting in Florida. This morning, though, a rebuttal. Here's Chris Crock from WBAP 820 AM with My Voice, My Opinion.
Dwayne Caraway. I love doing my Dwayne impersonation on the radio. Dwayne is just the gift that keeps on giving. Recently, he called for banning AR-15s, and he's calling for the cancellation of the NRA's convention in Dallas. Dwayne, what are you going to do? Come to my house and take it from me? Just like the NRA says, we are already here. We're everywhere. Cops, firefighters, doctors. Oh, and Dwayne says we don't need an AR-15. If North Texas or America goes to pot, and I'm the only guy around with food and water, I want an AR-15 to defend myself. If I want to collect them or just shoot them for joy, or hunt feral hogs with them, it's my right. Why don't you go after some other amendment, maybe the First Amendment? And does Dwayne not remember how things went last time they tried to ban a convention? We lost, and we're still in court with Exotica. So it's called free speech. And last but not least, the bazooka. Yes, the bazooka. Dwayne even says he thinks it's legal for us to get a bazooka. I'll have you know that I went out and got mine yesterday, so it's too late to take mine. Come and take it. I'm Chris Crock, and that's my voice, my opinion.
School superintendents pushing back now against Empower Texans, and the Texas Attorney General saying they will not be intimidated. One of them is in studio to tell us what they have planned next. And should this country pay to train and arm school teachers when we don't spend enough on education already? That's the debate in Flashpoint when Inside Texas Politics returns in 3 minutes.
The Honda President's Day sales event is here, and we're celebrating all across America with brilliant deals on some of our most popular vehicles. Explore our great nation with the 2017 KBB.com Best Value brand during the Honda President's Day sales event. Visit your Honda dealer today.
Need new floors? Empire Today makes getting beautiful new floors easy. Impossible? Let me show you. Empire brings hundreds of samples to you. We call it Shop at Home. The floors are high quality and come with great warranties. Plus, Empire handles the installation. You don't lift a finger, and the job's done right. Shop at Home, quality floors, professional installation. That's Empire Today.
800-588-2300 Empire
Today. Behind Angela Paxton's smile lies a world we never knew. Angela opposes term limits. She's funded by lobbyists working for amnesty, opposing school choice, who lobby for ethanol over Texas oil and gas. Philip Huffines has done business in Collin County for 35 years, supports term limits, and won't accept a salary or benefits from the state. The smile, or the workhorse. Philip Huffines is the trusted conservative.
You can't experience the Canadian Rockies through a screen. You have to be here with us. Travel through this natural wonder and get a glimpse of amazing. With a glass of wine in one hand and a camera in the other. Aboard Rocky Mountaineer. Canada's Rocky Mountains await. Call your travel agent or Rocky Mountaineer for special offers now.
Everyone loves extra rewards, so Nebraska Furniture Mart has some extra rewards on Beautyrest mattress sets now. Get a $50 reward card on qualifying Beautyrest silver mattress sets, a $200 reward card and free delivery on Beautyrest Platinum and Hybrids, and up to a $300 reward card, free delivery, and a free box spring on Beautyrest Black mattress sets. Use extra time to pay with 75-month financing. Shop extra large selection with valuable extras on Beautyrest now at Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Just a little spicy. With standard safety features, plenty of cargo space.
That's not hot for you?
No!
And advanced technology. The 2018 RAV4 is ready for any adventure. Right now, get $1,500 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 72 months on the adventurous 2018 RAV4 LE. Toyota, let's go places.
Texas public schools, how they are funded, and what students are taught have all become lightning rod issues lately. Empower Texans and the Attorney General say that superintendents are going too far, specifically in promoting voting. But Sunnyvale ISD Superintendent Doug Williams is among those who say they will not be intimidated when urging teachers and students to go out to the polls. Good to see you, Doug.
Good morning, Jason.
This all started some time back by a group called Texas Educators Vote, which encouraged school boards to pass a resolution to promote a culture of voting.
Right.
You guys didn't pass that in Sunnyvale.
Yeah,
right?
we opted not to address that way. I know a number of school districts across the state did. We just felt like that it wasn't in our best interest to pass that resolution, but we opted to do some things primarily focused on voter education and then also just emphasizing the need to get out to vote.
Some on the right, Empower Texans, the Attorney General, Senator Betancourt down in Houston as well, they worry this could create an illegal use of school resources.
You have to be cognizant of the fact that school resources are with public taxpayer funds, right, and we're aware of that. I believe there are certain lines that it's very definitive as to what you should and should not do.
What are those?
You know, really, I believe using district resources, district times, things of that nature. And so you have to be very cognizant of that, aware. However, going out and talking to people, encouraging them to become informed citizens and voting really is the key. You know, in the last primary, in the 2014 primary, right, that was the statewide, only 10% of registered voters voted in the Republican primary, and only 4% of registered voters voted in the Democrat primary. That's got to change. We have issues that are very pressing right now across our state, whether it is funding, whether it's security, a number of those different things.
I want to ask you about that because, too, it's no secret that many educators and many parents as well are upset with state lawmakers and school finance that the state is spending much less on education. Couldn't this be seen, though, as a subtle response to that?
Oh, I think it is a response to that. I think there was a lot of frustration that came out of the last regular session and the last special session when there were some excellent plans on the table to more adequately fund school districts across the state, and they were opted not to, and it really pass. Yeah, and it didn't pass, and it really was met with a lot of gridlock. You know, Jason, currently 62% of education funding comes from local source and 38% comes from the state, and there's a lot of rhetoric right now talking about how to lower property tax. I think the key to lowering property tax is more adequately fund public ed.
Lastly, real briefly here too, tell us what you guys have planned next.
So more than anything, it's just communication to go vote.
Telling students, faculty, staff, community.
That's right. Okay. Everyone, go vote. And the other thing is become informed. Be informed voters. You often look at political ads or you look at mailers and those mail-outs, and really it doesn't tell the full story. We want them to become informed and then make their decision accordingly.
All right. Doug Williams from Sunnyvale ISD, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate it. You know, neither this state nor this country really spend what we should on education. No difference there. But to make schools safer, President Trump has an idea that he wants to spend money to train teachers and arm them. It's the issue that sparked Flashpoint this morning. From the right, Mark Davis of 660 AM The Answer, and from the left, author and producer Katie Sherrod.
Thank you, Jason, and good Sunday morning, everybody. Well, these last few days have certainly been filled with so many opinions from so many forums about what we might do to have fewer school shootings, less of a death toll in our schools, lots of ideas, being kicked around. What I want to mention to Katie is the notion of armed teachers, armed security, armed teachers in particular. If this Coach Aaron Feist, so beloved, had a gun on him, maybe we have a dead shooter and not so many dead students. What could be wrong with that?
Well, first of all, I think there's the problem of a pistol going up against an AR-15. I mean,
better than nothing going up against an AR-15.
Well, I think the people I know who know a lot more about guns than I do say that you wouldn't have a chance. Plus, we won't pay teachers, we won't give them the supplies they need, we won't fund our schools. How are we going to pay to arm them all? How are we going to pay to train them? Keep in mind that the New York Police Department, highly trained body, actually hit their targets 18% of the time. So we're going to do intensive training on teachers?
Yes, the short answer is yes. And the occasionally sad fact is we fund what we are passionate about. We're probably not passionate enough about making sure Mr. Higby in the biology department makes enough money.
Not having a death toll at all in our schools.
Well, but I think the whole notion of more good armed people creating a death toll,
no,
I think has been fairly proven
people
false.
Just create more targets for the police and other people to figure out who's the bad guy and who's the good guy.
But I think in this case we would have known.
It will increase the death toll.
But didn't they
more guns will mean more people dying.
People said that about conceal and carry. They said it'd be the Wild West. It just hasn't happened. The way to stop bad people with guns is good people with guns.
We're talking about a weapon that was made for war, that exists for one purpose, to kill people.
Oh no, I know a lot of people who own them. Well, to kill people, yes. When they're exactly when they're coming at you, sometimes they need to be killed. That's why we own them.
Not in public schools, not in private hands.
From the right, Mark Davis, 660 AM, The Answer.
And from the left, Katie Sherrod.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer and check out the new Sonata with blind spot detection and a hands-free smart trunk.
This just feels better.
Better is the reason to buy Hyundai. Right now, get $2,500 in total savings or 0% APR on the 2018 Sonata. Visit buyhyundai.com.
Bring home a bigger bed and have more room to stretch for less. It's the big price drop at Mattress Firm. Hurry in, because for the first time ever, we've dropped the price of a king to a queen and the price of a queen to a twin across every brand. So you can enjoy a bigger bed for bigger savings. The big price drop. King for the price of a queen, queen for the price of a twin across every brand. Hurry in today. Your budget stretches further at Mattress Firm.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the sweet and spicy bacon burger. You asked for it and it's back.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is my all-time favorite.
I love this burger. It's just perfect.
2 beef patties, 2 different types of cheese, caramelized onions. My favorite thing about this burger is the sweet and spicy pepper sauce and the bacon. You get it in every bite.
Nothing beats this.
This is all you need.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger is back and now it's an all-time favorite.
That's happiness.
Bo French once in the Texas house, but after the murder of American sniper Chris Kyle, his widow sued Bo French for trying to steal her late husband's company. French then bankrupted the company, leaving Taya nothing. After losing the last campaign, law enforcement discovered French was behind a fraudulent Facebook page attacking Taya and conservative Sheriff Bill Wayburn. Now, French is running a bitterly negative, untrue campaign. Should you let Bo French in the house?
Ready or not, here we fun. It's a whole new year of thrills at SeaWorld and Aquatica San Antonio. There's more to soak and more to soar, and all new experiences in store. It's the most exciting year ever. Don't wait, come celebrate. Get 2 parks for 1 great price with a 2-park flex ticket.
Welcome to the auto show. What's your first impression here?
Well, this is nice.
You want to go drive a new Chevy? Let's step outside.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's very comfortable.
And what if I told you that you can get auto show cash right now?
Yeah, that would be nice. I think it's time to trade in.
Use Auto Show bonus cash to get $2,250 total cash allowance on this 2018 Equinox. Plus, get an additional $750 down payment assistance when you finance with GM Financial. Chevy drives Texas. Find new roads.
Come celebrate 128 years of yes at Conn's Home Plus and pay no interest until 2020. Go to Cons.com to apply for your Yes Money financing and get approved instantly. Then come join the celebration.
Time now for Reporters Roundtable to put the headlines in perspective. Bud and Ross both still with us, and Bernadine Steptoe, our political producer, is back as well. So thanks for being back with us as well, too.
Glad to be back.
Talk about the rain. It did not deter Democrats from getting out to vote. Let's show you the early voting numbers. This is Dallas County alone, comparing the last 2 midterms. February 2014, 2,500 Democrats in Dallas came out on day 1. These are day 1 numbers. This last week, 4,023 of them came out. That's a pretty big jump. Question is, Bernadine, we'll start with you. What's driving this turnout? What races?
Democrats want to win. However, I think a lot has to do with President Trump as well, because I think that the low turnout or the desire not to come out the last election, and now they're determined to put new people in, but also keep in mind that you have a number of judges who are running. And I think what is even more significant in this is that it was raining. And typically the weather has an impact or influence on turnout, and you still had high turnout.
That's a good point, and Democrats just don't usually vote.
You've got Democrats enthusiastic about Beto. They want to come out and do something with Beto, Beto, even if it's just a primary where he only has a negligible opponent. In Tarrant County, you have the Senate District 10 race. Democrats were up quite a bit in Tarrant County. They were up about 80%. Republicans were off about 20%. They don't have any real races at the top of the ticket. It's a bold move for Democrats.
Ross, what are you seeing statewide, Ross, and what's the takeaway from this?
Well, I'm going to be the cold water note here. You know, you've got 2 weeks of early voting, and you've only seen a couple of days. This could even up very quickly. In the past couple of cycles, the number of Republicans voting in primaries have been about double the number of Democrats voting. But to the point here, you know, the Republicans at the top of the ticket don't have real fights right now, and the Democrats have a couple of fights going at the top of their tickets. So that could be driving some of this.
Let's shift off to the race for State Senate. Bob Hall and Cindy Burkett, they exchanged some pretty dirty ads, Bud, about domestic violence allegation from the senator's divorce 20 years ago.
Right.
Is this helping either side?
Ages ago, and she brought out these domestic violence allegations. You know, Bob Hall's response was interesting. He started out by saying it was ugly and mean and dirty and nasty, and then he said the judge threw it out. It wasn't a very well-written response. You need to say right up front, I didn't do it. I'm not sure his response was as effective as her ad.
How close is this race, Bernadine?
Well, I don't know how close it is, but I think that the climate is so different in terms of the Me Too movement that he has to be very careful in how he deals with that, because you have that the women's vote and the domestic violence is very, very prominent.
Ross, there's pretty dirty races going on up here. This is one of them.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, there are a bunch of dirty races going on, and a lot of that is they're trying to move voters away from a more popular incumbent. The danger in Hall's response is that he's in danger of talking about these allegations more than Cindy Burkett has, and it may be the only thing some voters know about the race.
Let's switch off to the national debate right now about arming teachers. But, you know, this is something that State Rep Jason Villalba got passed here a couple of sessions ago, the school marshal program. Is that the best way to, can we employ that nationwide on a larger scale to make schools safer?
You know, the school marshals in Texas have a lot more training than an average concealed carry permit. We have them in Argyle, Van, McKean, several local districts. Yeah. It seemed to really work pretty well. And, you know, the marshal is spending most of their time teaching. It's actually kind of works better than having an officer in the school who, in a lot of small towns, let's face it, spends a lot of time writing tickets for littering or policing the fire lane or bothering the kids more than defending the kids.
30 seconds left here, Bernadine. Is this going to happen?
Possibly, but I wonder why they're not looking at metal detectors as well. You don't have this type of school violence in inner cities where there are metal detectors as well as police.
That's a good point, Ross. Some urban districts really don't have those issues so far that we haven't seen.
Right. You have to get a political solution here, which I think this is, and then find out whether it's a practical solution, and we're just going to have experience tell us that.
Gotcha. We appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for watching as well. Remember, this is the last week of early voting. Tuesday, March 6th is Election Day. We'll see you next Sunday. Hope you have a good week.